In this video, I'll show you how to create a new database connection with MySQL WorkBench. So on my screen, I have MySQL WorkBench started, and below here we'll have MySQL connections. To add a new connection, you can either click on plus button, or you can edit existing connections by clicking on this edit button icon. On the left side, you will have existing MySQL connections listed. So click on the new button to create a new one, and you will have a new entry. Give it a name. The database name that I would like to connect is called photo app. So I'll type photo app, and then connection method I will leave as is, standard TCP IP. Host name I can leave unchanged as well. Port number is a standard MySQL port number 3306. I'll leave everything as is. I can use root user credentials, or I can use the new user credentials I have created. So I will use a new user I've created for this database. The username is Sergey, and to provide a password, I'll click on Store in Keychain button, and here I'll provide a password for this MySQL user, and then I'll click on OK. And before saving and closing this window, we can test if MySQL connection is successful with the provided username and password. So I can click on Test Connection button, and I should see that MySQL successfully made a connection. So I'll click on OK and close it. And once I close it, I'll have a new tile here, which I can click and bring up the workspace, which I can use to work with that database. I have worked with this database already, and this is why I have many SQL queries created, which I can use to run. Now, before we go into the details of this user interface, I want to switch back to Home tab. And if you got an error clicking on this button that it could not connect and that an image could not be found, this is because the newer version of MySQL Server, which we have downloaded and installed, is using different way of encrypting user password. And at this time, it looks like MySQL WorkBench does not have that support available for us to use. So bring up your terminal window, and you will need to have your MySQL server running. I'll check current location. I will want to make sure that MySQL server is running, otherwise I cannot log in with my username. So I will go to support folder, and I will change my directory to support files folder, list files there, and I'll make sure that MySQL server is running, and I'll do it by doing sudo /MySQL server stop, and then provide root password to my MacBook computer, or admin password. Oops. My server was running, it's shutting down now. Okay, and now I can start it. And it started. So now I'll go back one folder, and I'll go back into bin folder, list files, and now I can sign in into MySQL by running the following command: MySQL user root, and then prompt for a password. You will need to sign in with the root password if you want to change credentials of other users. And now I can run a command to update the user details I want to use with MySQL WorkBench. And to do that, I will type alter user and then user name Sergey at localhost identified with MySQL native password by, and here's the password that I want to use to connect to MySQL database with this username. So I'm altering user with this username, which is identified by Sergey, but this time a different encryption will be used to encrypt the password. So I'll hit enter, and it's done now. So I will exit and will restart MySQL server. And to restart MySQL server, again, I will need to go into support files, list files, and then I will use sudo MySQL server restart and hit enter. It will first shut down, and then it will start up. So now when I have updated the way user password is encrypted with MySQL, I should be able to sign in with this username either using MySQL WorkBench or even this current version of MySQL. So I can go back and then cd into bin folder, list files, and I should be able to sign in with this username, user Sergey, and then provide a password, and it worked. Okay, so now I will go back to my MySQL Workbench and I should be able to sign in with this username. So everything works, and we can continue to the next video.